In a world where we have everything and it's still not enough, we're often left wondering, is this really it?
Deep inside, you know there's more to life. You're ready to leave behind the old push your way through and claim the deeper, more meaningful life that's calling you.
That's what we invite you to explore with us.
We're your hosts,
Stephanie Allen
and Maren. And this is the Soulful Leader Podcast.
Yay!
Have you ever had a dream? Something that you longed for, a desire, an ideal, a wish, only to have somebody else say, "Oh yeah, you can't do that," or that doesn't work for me, or that'll never work out. Like, you're not being realistic. It's interesting. I've had a dream for a long time of restoring an old barn that I have that's on my property, and part of me has had this idea of what I want it to become, but I'm also open to how it's meant to unfold. And over these last, 6 months, it's actually started to happen. I actually have somebody who's like raising it and fixing it, and it's beautiful. It's interesting because what it's done is it's stirred up everyone around me, like all my neighbors. What are you doing? What's happening over there? And I don't know if you've ever driven down a street sometimes and you'd have like a bunch of houses that are kind of, they're not necessarily fixed up. And then all of a sudden someone goes out and they start painting their house and they start mowing the lawn and putting in a garden and fixing things up. And now the house that kind of looked pretty good next to it is now looking pretty shabby. It's like, oh, I better maybe, and I'm not looking so good as the Joneses. And I'm not saying about competing about that. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that when we go for our dreams, it gives permission for those around us to also go for their dreams if we look at it that way. And so what happened to me on one side of my home, my neighbor up-leveled his whole yard and cleaned it up and started to design his and made it really, really beautiful. On the other side, they also started to kind of fix it up. But one of them was really, really not happy with me and told me I was too much and it was overwhelming and it was, encroaching into their space. And why did I have to make it so big and so beautiful? And he didn't say beautiful, but why do I have to be so much? And I kind of took it in my heart at first. And I could feel that reaction of like, how dare you? But then I thought, if I put myself in their shoes, how might I look at if somebody next to me goes for their dream and I am having a hard time with what I got going on? It can bring up stuff. Like, am I good enough? Can I do that too? Or, if I give myself permission to actually go for my dream, what will I have to let go of? Like, it brings up a lot of questions. And so sometimes people lift up with it, and other times, and I unfortunately would like to say, a lot of times people try to kill your dreams so that they don't have to live theirs.
Well, first of all, I love the analogy of the house and our internal dream killers, right? Because when we can look at it as just flat land of, well, that's just going on in the neighborhood. And I like that you took it to the inward place of it's our actual, this is a representation of our actual dreams. And how often in life have we thought somebody else is a little bit too, you're a little over the top, you're a little too much, slow down there, whoa, Nelly, or somebody said that to us in some place where we're like on a high. And it reminds me of the story of the crabs in the bucket. So supposedly, I don't know if it's true or not, people who live by the seashore will be able to tell us that, Stephanie. Anyway, if you put crabs in a bucket and one of them tries to get out, the other crabs will actually pull it back down. How dare you escape? And we do that to each other. We do that to ourselves. Why do we do that?
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the question.
Because it's familiar. I think you know, the mediocrity, or hey, shouldn't I just be grateful? My life is pretty good. I'm not starving. I got a roof over my head. I should just be grateful. Why push the envelope? Why go for a dream when this is enough? It is enough. And that's a very valid point. It's just that when someone else is going for their dream, instead of pulling them down like the crabs, what if you could create an environment to help them go for it? And that requires a different way of thinking and believing. That requires a different internal mindset.
It really does. And when we think about that, I know for myself, I think it's the Catholic guilt. I have too much. It's not okay. It's not spiritual to have so much. And I've been very blessed. I have a lot. And yet there's this other side to it where it really is about, if I settle and I say, if I put a lid on it and say, I can't have any more, that's it, then I don't have space to support other people it's like it squashes everything. It puts a lid on everything. And when you put a lid on something, like think of a boiling pot, right? That's got all this energy and it's got nowhere to go. So it condenses the stuff that's inside. And that's what ends up happening to us is we get smaller and smaller and smaller inside.
And the pressure is more and more and more.
And the pressure is more and more and more. So how do we start to release that without it exploding? I think that's the other piece, is because that pressure has built up, and maybe this is what your neighbors are experiencing.
Yeah. So
is their own internal pressure.
I had an experience when I was in my 20s. I was working at my job, and my best friend called me and said, hey, I have this really great opportunity to leave Toronto and head down to Los Angeles. And I've never even been there. I don't even know where it is. I remember her saying this to me. And she said, it's totally the unknown for me, but it feels like this could be a really amazing life experience. And I remember, because you can go and go, oh, I'm so jealous. Because I always wanted to live in California. I always wanted to live, like surf and do all that kind of stuff. And here she is going to live where I love to go. And I could have been jealous. I could have been a dream killer and said, why are you doing that? You're so much better here in Canada. And yeah, I could have done all kinds of things. Instead, I said, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. And I watched her life far exceed what we ever thought we could ever do as kids when we grew up together. Like, she traveled the world. She was able to, experience things that we didn't even imagine. And I remember telling her that she empowered me. Just her life alone empowered me. Because if she could do it, and we both came from the same small town in, Nova Scotia, Canada, in a little tiny rural place, if she can do it and go for it, so can I.
Yeah.
Now, that was in my 20s. So dream killers, you can either, when we kill a dream outside of somebody else's dream, we're actually doing that because we've already killed our own internal dream. Somewhere inside, we've already buried it. I was young enough to know that if she's going to go for her dream, then I can too. Yeah. What would that be like? Can I don't know what that is. Could I be open to it? And it changed my life.
I love that. And I think that we could ask ourselves a question of, how do we benefit from staying small?
Right.
Right. So then there's there's two other pieces to that, of on the incoming, like, who benefits in our life? The external dream killers, like your neighbors, right? So how do they benefit from keeping you small, right? So we're looking at, how do I benefit from keeping myself small? And an example of that is, one of the ways that I benefit from staying small is I don't have to risk anything. Life is good enough. I'm comfortable enough, right? So it's
Mhm.
our biggest fear. Oh, who says this? Is it Marianne Williamson? Is
Our
that our
biggest fear is not our darkness, but our light.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
we could be the greatest ever, right? Like it's that highest potential.
Well, yeah, and the more light you have, the more darkness you also have too. You can't we have the polarity. So I'm going to reverse that because if you're feeling down and hopeless and helpless, if you're feeling that darkness, it's because you have a lot of buried light.
Mm,
It's a different way of looking at it. Or if
yeah.
you're in a town where there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of things that are, or a city that, or the world where we're seeing so much darkness or so much heaviness, it's because there's also so much light. All we need to do is shift our perspective. The old story of the grandfather and the grandson who are the story of the two wolves. And
Mm.
the wolves are hungry. And the grandson says to the grandfather, "Which wolf will live?" And the grandfather says, "The one you feed." So if you feed the dream killers, they will continue to live. If you feed the darkness, it will continue to grow. But if you feed the light and you feed your dreams, they too will begin to grow. So where do you want to put your time and your energy and your focus?
Because where we put our focus is what gets bigger in our lives.
Mhm.
I actually found the Marianne Williamson quote. It says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that most frightens us." And so to go back to what we're talking about of that is the piece that's where I benefit, or part of me
Mhm.
benefits from not going all in, is I can stay safe. I can stay comfortable in I got enough, I got plenty, right? And so then go
There's
ahead.
also there's also a saying, and I always love this too. It's like, this is wonderful to be totally loving and accepting of where you are and being grateful. That's wonderful. But like anything, if you just sit there, you will can like think of a road. If you just sit there, you will still get run over.
Mm,
There are things that we are meant to travel along the road toward.
yeah.
It's not about going fast, but it's about moving towards something. You can either be moving away from something, which a lot of people are away from type of people, or we can be moving towards something. Which feels better in your mind and in your body? To run away, to turn away, or to turn towards?
And I think for a lot of people, that towards peace, we don't know what our soul like it feels like we're called to something. It feels like there's something that I want to be doing that, and yet we're conditioned to do what society tells us to do. So we do all the things and we check all the boxes and we don't feel fulfilled. So we have the stuff and it feels like enough, and then we don't want to break anything
Mhm.
because like I worked really hard to get here, to get to this place of I'm comfortable, even though inside I don't feel comfortable. There's something like eating at me.
Yeah, like sandpaper. It's
See,
just something grating against me that I just don't like it in some way.
yeah. So that's another place where that the external conditioning of how we've been told that we should live and following that thread is another place that's a dream killer in the
Mhm.
way that then I don't want to break it. Don't shake this up too much because something might go wrong. So I'm not gonna truly go for it. And then when I see somebody else truly going for it, that makes that sandpaper rub a
Mhm.
little bit harder. And you want to go, hey, stop that. You're gonna
Well,
something's gonna fall apart and it might be my life. So stop it.
and what happens when you really go for a dream is you actually have to become a different person to live the new dream. You cannot stay the same and live the dream that's in your heart.
Yeah.
You have to change. Again, another parable of the, you can't keep your foot on first and steal second base. You have
Right.
to let go of where you are in order to go to where you want to be.
And that's scary.
And it can be scary because you might get, caught and sent back home again, and have to repeat it. You're out. And that's okay. That's okay. Start again, start again, start again. We can't keep throwing our past experiences in front of us. We need to learn from our past experiences. But again, we're not the same person that had that experience.
Right.
We are a different person now.
Right.
And to remind yourself, so don't be your own dream killer. Those are the most dangerous part.
Yeah. Where all the places where we say, oh, I know how that ends. I've done that already. Well, actually, the person who did that is not who you are today. So do you truly know how that ends? That's that's one of those dream killer places. Like if you're saying stuff like that to yourself, you might catch it and say, is it true? The Byron Katie that stuff of, is it true? And so far we've talked about like the two of them, how I am a dream killer for my own stuff and how I might be, dream killing somebody else's. And then there's the third piece, which is where is there somebody, or how might my going for my dreams threaten somebody else? And that actually, we did kind of talk about that because that's kind of where your neighbors are. And when I let go of the shore or take my foot off of first to steal second, there's a team of people that it could be threatening to them that I'm stealing, or they could be excited about it, right? I could go either way. There might be people who are going, no, 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 no. And people are going, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. So it's a good idea to look within yourself to say, what is the dream? And even to say to yourself, because every single soul has been given a dream, a longing that actually you're meant to actually realize. So you cannot have a wish or a dream or a longing that doesn't already exist in the future. That's why it's in your heart, because there's some part of you in the future that's actually living it. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get there, because, well, how do I get there? Well, you have to believe in it and you have to keep practicing it, because the person in the future that's living that dream is not the same as who you are now.
Well, and I want to talk about that for a second, because when I've mentioned that to somebody in the past, they've said, oh, I don't believe that my life is fated like that. And I don't think of, when I say that my future self has already done it or is already there and has left me breadcrumbs, right? I don't think of it as a fated thing, because I'm actually in choice. Am I going to get to that person or am I not? Am I going to choose the things? Am I going to find the breadcrumbs? Am I going to stay the course to become that person or not? So there is a highest version of you, and it's not guaranteed. You actually have to keep choosing it.
And we need people around us who are also going for it and practicing it, so that we can both inspire each other. Just like my friend that called me to say that she had had an opportunity to go to LA as a fashion designer, actually. And that was her childhood dream. And I'm like, wow, it's coming true. And it gave me an insight to say, then my dreams can come true too. What is my dream? Like, surround yourself from other people, that are doing it as well. Find them. Even if they're not someone go research them on the internet or read about them in books. Like, there are so many people that have realized their dreams. Study them, because they had to think differently. They had to behave differently. They had to change something about themselves. And that, yes, it can be painful on one level, but it also can be extraordinarily joyful, especially when you know the end that you are working towards is so much better than where you are in the beginning.
I look at it like this. There's challenges in life, whether you're going for something fulfilling or going for something surface.
Yeah.
And so, do you want the challenges and the frustrations and the possible pains to lead you to fulfillment or to lead you to emptiness? And you feel
Same
like,
old, same old.
yeah, been there, done that. And that quest, that question of what is the dream? I had somebody who gave me a great question that might be something that you guys could think about. If no one in your life ever knew what you were going to choose or what you chose, like there was no one to judge it, nobody to tell you this or tell you that, like no one would ever know your choice, what would you choose?
Mm.
From that really heartful, soulful place, what would you choose? Because having that and holding that dream, and then as you mentioned, Stephanie, having the community of people around you who support you. So I have a quick story. When I was competing in dance, I competed in ballroom and I competed in the swing community and I competed in the country community. And mostly I trained with the ballroom dancers because of the quality of training. And I competed in country and swing because in ballroom, it was highly competitive and cutthroat. And people were hoping that their competitors did poorly.
Mm.
And when I got to the swing community, that's where I found it the most. Actually, both in that and in the couples country community. The competitors were out there cheering on their competition, wanting them to do well. So they would get done competing and they'd go sit in the front. They'd be the ones in the front, like of the row. Like they'd be sitting on the dance floor, cheering on the next person who is good. And I was like, I want that in my life. I want to be surrounded by people who are my top competitors who want the best for me too. They want to compete at that high level, not pull me down, not be the crabs in the bucket.
I was just going to say, not be the crabs, to be what would pull the crab out of the bucket and continue to keep helping the other crabs stagger out and get out together.
Exactly. It's like we want to all get to the next level, not I want to be best because I stood on top of you. So that is the thing, is where is the community? And if you don't have one, join our community or join our community anyway, because that's who we are. And that's what we're wanting to help the world to evolve to, is let's all give each other a hand up and keep evolving.
And that whole saying, we don't fail alone, meaning we, like the crabs in the bucket, we all pull each other down, but we also don't succeed alone either. We also can all pull each other up. Which one do you want and why?
Yeah.
What would be so rich and so important in your heart to change the ways and allow yourself to be lifted up and to lift others up to go too?
I would love to have you all out there answer that question and share it with us. So you can find us on social media. You could share that with us on a social media. You could also send us an email because we respond to all of the emails that you send us. And you can email us. You can find our email. Actually, our email is support@tslp.life. And that's our website, tslp.life. And you can find us on social media under Soulful Leaders, because that's such a beautiful question. And I love ending on that. It's such a high note.
Love it. Lift yourself up and lift others up by lifting.
Yeah.
Up.
Lifting up and sharing your answer to that question is what will lift you up and all the people around you.
So go for it.
Go for it. We'll see you all in a couple weeks on the Soulful Leader podcast.
And that wraps up another episode of the Soulful Leader podcast with your hosts, Stephanie Allen
and Maren Oslack. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to dive deeper, head over to our website at thesoulfulleaderpodcast.com.
Until next time.